Good timing, song. I was actually just trying to give the song some time to finish. And giving myself a time to compose myself after running upstairs and being back downstairs. Typey, typey, typey. Click on stuff. And hello, 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 and welcome to another One Line of Code. I am One Lion. Happy Friday to you all. Welcome to the stream. Fridays on this channel are community days. Ooh, let me turn this down. Miss Big Amy shouts me out again. So hi. Hello TBD, you indeed were first. Deflux close behind, who is probably still stuck at an airport. Cat came in. Hello Cataton. And hello Mojo. Whew. Still trying to catch my breath. Running up and downstairs, man. My heart is also going fast because I had a Frappuccino this morning, which was some extra caffeine that, I mean, my body should be used to because I get it every week. But it feels like it's giving me more of the wiry anxiety feeling. Yes, coffee. Oh, geez. Just turn that down, though. Eddie Murphy. All right. So, Community Day. Today, let me get everything situated. Deflux is probably, like I said, still at an airport or stuck somewhere else nearby. This whole thing that's happening is affecting him, which is not super fun for him, I would imagine. I'm looking for OBS. Where in the world is OBS? Right here. Okay, start virtual cam. Oh. How do I get anywhere? I've forgotten how to use Discord. All right, I'm in Discord. I am sharing my camera, which is the OBS scene. Okay, here we go. To the desktop, and we'll start the stream. Yay! Here we are. Okay, so Kat says, so yeah, I figured out my issue with components not being registered. I saw you posting about that in Discord, but definitely feel free to share. Just so you know, again, community day. So if you're comfortable doing so vocally, the Discord voice channel is open. Hop into any of the voice channels, most likely the stream waiting room. Let me know in chat that you are waiting because I'm usually looking away from that window or it gets covered up by other stuff or whatever else happens. And then I'll pull you into the actual voice channel that gets your voice carried over onto the stream. Your name will appear up there in the top left corner of your screen. Then you will mute the stream and listen via Discord. And you'll be able to hear the conversation in real time, see the stream in real time on Discord. I'll be seeing myself backwards on Discord. Okay. So yeah, if you wanna describe it, explain it, whatever, you don't have to do it via Discord. You can do it just by copy paste whatever you put into Discord or just retyping it. But yeah, it looks like you're going into it here in chat. So it worked for a while. Next thing I know, it ain't working no more. And I see it in the do not compile kind of category. But now stuff works as well as one could expect. As well as one could expect, he says. Oh. I for the longest time couldn't figure out what was going on, and I didn't even mention that when we were talking about it last time. But like if you happen to have your, this isn't a good project to open. If you happen to have your CS Proj open, is this the bot? I don't, oh yeah, I do. I was gonna say I don't have a UI for the bot yet. Yes, I do. If you happen to have this open, and you are adding files. So let's say that we are in one of the components, like main page. And I'm adding a new file called tacos. If you couldn't tell, I really like tacos, at least for a file name or placeholder names. Then sometimes you will see the items show up in here for a little bit, but it goes away eventually. But sometimes what happens is that what happened to Cat is that instead it only ever removes these entries, but keeps these entries, which is no bueno, because that means that the tacos.razor is not going to be compiled when you save it. Then you close it, and I'm closing that without saving, reopening. It's still there. That's funny. But yeah, most of the time I've noticed that it happens when you have the CS Proj open. Tacos, huh? Never really had that. But yeah, plenty of stuff that's just quirky. And I mean, when you think about it, the amount of quirks that you have working in Visual Studio and adding files different ways is like a very, very minuscule amount compared to the number of features that they've implemented in Visual Studio. It doesn't really excuse it, especially if a lot of people let them know that this is an issue that needs to be fixed and it stays that way for a really long time. But at the same time, you can understand why they didn't notice it. But yeah, so the floor is open. The phone lines are open. The whatever you feel like talking about, we can talk about today. That's what today is all about. Let me know what pieces of technology you want to talk about. I know that right now one of the hottest things is the CrowdStrike issue that's going on. I don't know very much about it because I don't really keep up with the news and it wasn't affecting me all that much. The only thing that did affect me was when Azure Central went down yesterday and I was trying to push changes to DevOps so that the CI/CD pipeline could run so that it could deploy overnight and then I could test it first thing this morning, make sure everything is working well before anyone gets to work. Although I keep forgetting that on Fridays, I need to push save on this. That on Fridays, the training, I all interrupted myself. And enter. Save. Okay. So on Fridays, most of the people that work at the Rocky Mountain Arsenal, or most of the employees from the Rocky Mountain Arsenal don't work on Fridays. That's what I'm trying to say. Today morning patch notes for one of my favorite games released for the new season coming next week. And which game is that? Because again, like I said, I'm not really into the news, including gaming news. Most of my content consumption on YouTube has been learning how to do sound engineering, music production, mixing. Path of Exile, awesome, awesome. I never really played that one very much. I did play it for a little bit, but I was very, very, very much into Diablo 2, and then I did end up getting Diablo 3, played Diablo 4 for like 2 minutes, but I kind of just stopped. It looks like they fixed Melee. That's good. The games that I've been playing more lately are single player role playing games or tabletop games with my wife, which you already heard me rave about Tainted Grail in the last stream, so I won't do that. But I do urge you to check it out. But yeah, definitely. If, like, again, Path of Exile, technology adjacent, even though it's games and stuff. But if that's what you feel like discussing today, we can talk about it. What do you like about it? Also heading for Luxembourg tomorrow evening. Not really looking forward to sleeping in the bus, but you know, at least you can take the bus to Luxembourg. I have to take a flight 8 hours across the ocean and then train probably, and then bus, and then taxi, and bit much. This, why do you keep showing me the old one? I like the new one. I like the complexity of Poe. There's always something to learn. Poe the author? Again. I may be out of the know for just about every time that you bring up a topic, act like it's the first time I'm hearing it. Like knowing that Poe is the acronym for Path of Exile that you were just talking about. I'm good at this game. I'm Darkwing? Is that what DW is? I'm kidding, I know that one. It's Don't Whine. Serve us. What am I serving you? I know. I get it. It was a joke. Okay. I mean, hi back. Also, like how I got 1,500 hours in it, and I have no idea what's going on pretty much. That's hilarious. My wife and I have not really logged. I guess you can call it logged, but we used to play Lineage 2. That was our MMO of choice back in the day. And that would have been 10. Anyway, it was a lot of time that we sunk into it. Greater than 1,000, less than 100,000 hours. Let's see, what's 7 times 24 times 365? We'll go with that number. 7 times 4, or 24 times, why am I doing times 365? Times 52, let's say. Yeah, so let's say definitely less than 10,000 hours, because that would be playing every minute of every day for 7 years. But more than, I don't know, more than a bit. It's time well spent if you enjoyed it. Yeah, we got so much, I'm going to say content out of it. So it was just us, and we didn't really party with too many people. We were in a guild. Are they called guilds in most games still? We were in a clan, which is what it was called in Lineage. And yeah, we did a lot of really cool stuff, role playing and such. To which we have since then is what I should say, since about like 2013, 14, 15, somewhere around that time, we've been just putting together bits and pieces of the lore from Lineage 2 mixed in with our roleplay storyline stuff, and came up with a really, really rich story that we haven't formalized, but I really want to. Really want to. Hello, Thindle! All right. Well, I mean, you've already joined just by being here, so we'll call that good. I am experimenting with the ad. What is it called? Ad manager? Which one of you is ad manager? Ad manager. Where's the ad manager? Here it is. Sneeze ads. Okay. So I set up SiriBot and then ad manager in Twitch. And I'm hoping that, so what I think happens, and I'm not sure, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I disable pre-roll ads by running a 3-minute ad at the beginning. But regardless of that, you guys still get ads through my stream or not? Because if you don't, then I pretty much have the pre-roll ads disabled for 1 hour because I run the 3 minutes at the start of the stream. That's when most people join, I think. I don't know. And then for the second hour, anyone that joins will get pre-roll ads. So I don't know. I know that part. I know that part of it. It's just whether or not the ads actually play during the stream, have been playing during the stream. And I guess what I should have done is not turn on the ad manager yet, since now I have SiriBot, it's going to tell me when ads are about to run. It would have told me. They should, although I have an ad block. Oof. Well, while we're waiting for more conversation, feel free to bring anything up, like I said. And hello, Duka Soft. So Duka Soft, I love your bot greeting new texts or new chats, but it also greets the other bots that come in, the spam bot thingies that are like new followers or best place to find followers. And also the start of the stream, it greeted SiriBot, since SiriBot was like, ads are starting for the first time. The poo-poos. But it doesn't matter. I was just letting you know about it because I thought it was funny. You don't need to change anything. Just thought you would laugh with me. So yeah, so while we're waiting for Chattis, more discussion, I'm gonna continue what we were talking about on Wednesday, since I wasn't actually working on the Finance Man project. Although you can kind of say that I was adding function or adding UI or a component that could be used in our UI. And the component that I was adding was this accordion list. And essentially what I'm wanting the accordion list to be is once we see it actually launch, which it loaded here for whatever reason. What I'm wanting the accordion list to be is a templated list of items that have a header, body content, optional footer, and it starts off, well, you can tell it how you want it to start off, collapsed or have all items expanded and let them be collapsible. But you click on the header and it will toggle whether it's collapsed or not, whether the content is displaying or not. And so the way that we can, or here's where we got, is what I'm trying to say. So far we have, I was going to say sketched out, but it's pretty much done. So it's not just sketched, it's here. It's finalized. We just need to style it. We created a parent component called accordion item. Sorry, accordion list. Good grief. I'm good at words. And then we created the children components, which are going to be the actual list items. And so that's called an accordion list item. And so an accordion can have multiple list items, children list items. And we accomplish that by passing the parent to its children components through a cascading value. Somebody teach me how to talk. Hello, welcome back, TBD Gamer. And since you are officially back, here's a shout out for TBD Gamer. Great, fantastic streamer to hang out with, especially first thing in the morning, or I guess second thing in the morning for me, but first stream of the morning. TBD Gamer's stream is all about .NET, doing amazing things, working on a really, really cool it's all of one channel. I don't think I understand that phrase. Especially if you need extra sleep. It's so riveting. It is really cool to see the technologies that you're working in. Kindle's Discord community or sub Discord community. I bet you that's going to become a thing soon too, where there's one Discord server and then they have sub communities within those servers for, let's say, streamers or gamer alliances. So you can have guilds, you can have alliances of guilds. Yeah. There is a, isn't there? There might be a .NET Twitch Discord already. Yeah, a federated Discord of some sort where it's kind of like you have Reddits and subreddits, and I don't know. I don't use Reddit, so I have no idea if it's anything like that. I was saying a thing. I don't remember what I was saying because it's not important. We just have child accordion items, and the children know their parent, and so they register themselves with their parent as soon as they're initialized, and then the parent renders them out after adding them to a list. The end. Okay, so let me see if I can understand chat now. It's all of one channel over at One Lion with a better TTV emote that is electricity. I don't know what the emote is. Join One Lion's Discord. And then TBD was explaining Thindle's Discord community or sub Discord community, he means. Link in the description below. Best regards, every YouTuber. And there's more acronyms. So Mojo says to Thindle, YADs don't apply, but this is just YADK. And then TBD says to Thindle, I know what you mean. I'll catch up eventually, I promise. Mojo says I would love a .NET Twitch Discord or a federated Discord. Thindle says there's a C# Discord. Specifically Twitch streamers, I think is what Mojo is talking about. It's kind of official IIRC. I just don't want to switch across channels, man. Exactly. Federation is the goal, like Mastodon. Or Lemmy instead of Reddit. Yeah, Lemmy. That's exactly what I meant. What's Lemmy? It says, step 1. To starting an official .NET server. Be part of the foundation. Step 2 of starting an official .NET server. Step 3 of starting an official .NET server. No profit because it's free. Yads is yet another Discord server. versus Yatic, which is yet another Discord channel. I think I created that one, but I'm not 100% sure, says Thindle. The Yads and Yatic. I started saying it and I don't remember seeing it first. And then Mojo says, I got it from you. Thindle says, and probably. And then TBD says, so shared Discords sound good, but what about moderation? Well, one person wants to moderate, another might not. That's why it's called a sub-community. So there's a broad, if you want to be part of this server, then here are the broad stroke terms and moderation stuff. But then in each sub-community, you can still join them by opting into them. I mean, it's kind of like organizing your Discord in folders and stuff, but it's all in the same server. You organize them and yeah. You pretty much have in order to chat here, you must agree to these terms, and this is how moderation is going to be. Think. And when you group a bunch of people with opinions that differ together, we all know what's going to happen. They're all going to end up finding middle ground and agreeing and cooperating with each other. President Not Sure says, like Lemmy from Motorhead? No, Lemmy is Fediverse version of Reddit, because we all know what Fediverse is too. Thindle says, first rule of modding people, if they ask for mod, never, ever mod them. Mojo says, Thindle, can I mod your channel? No, I'll never be asked to mod. Easy win. Yes. Smart. I forward this question to DevNull. Dukasoft is already mod. Oh, Thindle says, can I mod your... Dukasoft says, can I mod your channel, Thindle? And Dukasoft is already mod, because Dukasoft is the best mod. I really hope it's not too much work for you, especially this channel. If it is, you don't have to do anything, ever. I can't remember the name of the internet law. God, Why is that better than actually typing out the words? Because everyone knows what you're meaning to say. Today is going to be a lesson in Activity Pub, says Mojo. Is it? What are we going to learn? TBD says, I'm not sure I know what's going on anymore. On this channel, I'm just reading chat. Wherever it's going. There's Rule 34. There's John Gabriel's Great F-Wad, again. Like, if that's the actual name of the theory, then that's cool. If not, you're pretty much saying it. And then there's Godwin's Law was the one I was looking for. And Mojo says, here is Activity Pub. It's a protocol and open standard for decentralized social networking. It provides a client to server shortened to C2S, API for creating and modifying content, as well as a federated server to server protocol for delivering notifications and content to other servers. ActivityPub has become the main standard used in Fediverse, a popular network used for social networking that consists of software such as Mastodon, PixelFed, and PeerTube. Fediverse, commonly abbreviated to Fedi, is a collection of social networking services that can communicate with each other, formerly known as a federation, using a common protocol. Users of different websites can send and receive status updates, multimedia files, and others data across the network. The term Fediverse is a portmanteau of federation and universe. Oh man. Oh dear. And then Mastodon is free open source for running self-hosted social networking services, microblogging features similar to Twitter, which are offered by a large number of independently run nodes, known as instances or servers. Joining of words. Sounds like a word that you already knew. New to me. Okay, Godwin's law states that as an online discussion grows longer, the probability of a comparison involving Nazis or Hitler approaches 1. It's only if you are involved in it, Thindle. You really do like to bring up topics and stuff that I'm like, we don't need that on this channel. There are other channels for that. They don't belong here. Then Thindle says, and here's the full name. John Gabriel's greater fuckwad theory states that totally normal person plus anonymity plus audience equals total fuckwad. See, that wasn't so hard, was it, Thindle? But every time as we as humans try to do things to bring them together, people have differing opinions and create alternate options, and we start again. Is that also part of the Godwin's law? Because that sounded really, really formal. And yes, let's go, Zeph. Hi, how are you doing on this fantastic Friday? I hope you're having a fun day so far. We know what Rule 34 is. I'm pretty sure everyone knows what Rule 34 is. Where are we going, Zeph? I want to go. I'm just helping you remember. Since you said you don't want to do those things. I think the worst thing I do is pick on Duca. But I do it with love. I try to praise Duca because he does so much for this channel and is just extremely helpful. So I have no reason to pick on people, make them smaller. My opinion. Not saying that that's what you're doing. And then Mojo says to Thindle, there's a wiki game where you keep clicking links until you hit Godwin's law. Interesting. Huh. Start here, end on, well, you know, tacos. Obviously. Because if I'm involved, then the conversation will almost inevitably go to food. Food or personality types? Mostly food, though. Showing the rest of this, by the way. Let's go. Let's go. There are other sound clips that if you let it get... Actually, no. They still cost about the same. I love the Print the Internet one. If you wait until 50, you can do yay. I got a bad feeling about this. Shouldn't be too hard to get to these. But I do like let's go. Thindle says, I think there's a thing where you start on Wikipedia. If you click the first article, you'll always end up in the same few articles linking to each other in a loop of 6 or 7 within minutes. That sounds fun. A little dizzying. I reference this article, which references this other article, which references my article. Okay, so I briefly went over what we talked about on Wednesday for this. Again, continue conversation. I will keep reading. I will throw you, okay? Oh, I have so many things that I want to do eventually, but one of the things that I would love to do eventually is to be able to have a version, with permission of course, of being able to play a game like Etherfields with you guys, with chat, where it's a tabletop game, so I would have a camera on the playing space, have some kind of way for you guys to see your cards, and we'd play Etherfields together, and it would just be fun. Apparently, Mike Godwin of Godwin's Law is also a lawyer for Wikimedia. Uncanny. What's uncanny? And which was the classic line? Tell to me. Oops. Told you that would happen. Okay. So if you're interested in the initial setup for this, just check out Wednesday's VOD. It is also on YouTube's. Just posted it before the stream. And what else? Okay, so we have the UI for this collapsible accordion list. Now let's start styling it. So what I like to do is style the base component with the core functionality and not like hard-coded styles. That way, whenever it's being used, you can customize it yourself. So first thing that I like to do is add accordion list components. Since I'm going to do it using isolated CSS, that way you don't even have to import CSS. And make a Sass file because I like doing my CSS using Sass. Then I misspelled it. Oops. Man, I'm failing at this. Sassy. I learned today, isn't it today I learned, that my Spotify Premium sub comes with audiobooks. We have been using it. I tried listening to Fundamentals of Software Architecture. I got bored 18 minutes in. Oh no. 18 minutes sounds like a record. Yeah. So my wife is typically my audiobook, but sometimes there are some readers that we happen to enjoy. So we, it's especially cool when the book is available on Kindle Unlimited and there's an audiobook version of it with where the reader is actually not annoying to us because we can read along with it. But yeah, my wife is usually my audiobook, and oh, such good times. Dindle says, did you know? Did you know? Actually, no. First Mojo said to TBD Gamer, I originally tried doing that with some of the core software engineering books. Pragmatic Programmer, Clean Code, Clean Architecture. Wait, I can ask my fiance to be my audiobook? Either way. You can be hers, she can be yours. You can read the same book together and just voice different lines. Plenty of ways you can read a book together. I can't read. I can program. I can dance. But I can't read. Oh, I said that wrong. I can't read. I can't write. But I can program. I got a voice for silent film. Okay, then Thindle said, did you know that if you use GitHub Copilot's write me a commit message feature, you seem super productive? I didn't, but I would never use that feature if it's just for appearances. TBD Gamer says, unless it just starts making up random stuff, that's what makes you seem productive, I guess. I removed a file and generated a commit message. It spit out a 5-line paragraph and a 10-point bullet list. Good grief. Mojo said, oh, I read that one. TBD said, I made up a bunch of downright lies when I tried that today. About this not being able to read thing. We have a stream waiting room bringing you in 5, 4. I'm not going to count down the whole thing. What are you thinking? Mic check.
Hello.
Mic is checked. Good levels too. You'd think you were a pro streamer.
Yeah, I've actually gone back to the SM7B as well. Now I've got enough boosting in the line to do it.
Nice. Zeph says, let's go. Thindle said it went into details about what functions were removed and how they were no longer joined into the code. I can't read because another class implementing the same interface was registered instead. And finally, Mojo says Copilot introduces so many bugs into my code that I just commit it and then look super productive when I'm debugging it.
I was saying I was making some changes to the class files in the .NET project today, and I had forgot some of the stuff I'd done previously. So I asked it to, do the thing, and it basically told me that I'd changed Angular, I'd added new classes, I'd refactored some stuff, and I'd added all sorts of new views and stuff to the Angular code. I'm like, no, I didn't even touch Angular. That's completely untouched. No commits. It just made it up. So it's not good when it makes lies, because if you commit those lies, then
how are you even supposed to use that? It doesn't have context of your GitHub changes, does it?
It does, yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, definitely in Rider, but I assume it was in Visual Studio. You just say, "Please, can you create me a commit message?" And it will go and analyze what it's done.
And I didn't even refactor accordion list styles. This is my first time making it. What are you lying to me? Zigzag says, doesn't look like I can tell if the chat received is a bot or, oh well, no biggie, I feel. True. That is true. You won't be able to tell unless you are looking for specific messages being sent, which I think is what SiriBot does.
I think it was either Duca or Surly Dev, probably Surly Dev, I think, that advised that if I'm going to block someone from the channel, before I do it, I copy the message that they've pasted, that they put into like the viewer stuff, and then I report them and paste that message in the reason why I'm reporting them. And Twitch in general has banned them within 5 minutes of me pasting.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's been working pretty well. With SiriBot, I haven't had any come in now in the last couple of days.
Cool.
So
very. Whoa. I was all reading Thindle's message, and then it's like, here's more from Mojo. Thindle says Copilot is just trained on GitHub. It doesn't have any more to do with GitHub as such, except for, being a GitHub product. But there's a feature in beta to have it write a whole PR by diffing your branch with the one you're trying to merge into. Then Mojo says, I give a whole presentation at work on how to use Copilot for 365, and it was great because I used Copilot for Microsoft 365 to create a slide deck about Copilot for Microsoft 365. Anyway, in the whole prompt engineering thing, I explained how the presentation was for our sales and marketing staff to leverage to write emails and create marketing copy.
Oh no.
Yes.
You encourage salespeople to use the AI to write copy. Did you also advise them to actually check what it writes? Because I got an email yesterday from Progress, right? And the first email said, "Hey, first name," and then I got another email. "Sorry, we do know your name." Like you had to send your marketing twice. The second one to correct the first one. That's
wait a minute. Oh yeah, speaking of, you were talking about really realizing why that you don't like SendGrid. Why?
Yes.
I'm putting my words in the wrong order because I'm a little bit out of time. So what was it that happened to you with SendGrid?
So, I mean, okay, first up, my initial issue with SendGrid is my fault, right? I made a mistake, but it's their process that made me do it.
Very valid.
So when I first signed up for SendGrid to try and use for my game tracking library stuff. I wanted to send emails to my wife routinely with like copies of what games I'd added to my wish list, etc. So she always has something if she wants to buy gifts. And when I signed up for SendGrid, before they activate the account, they send you an email and they ask what you're doing with it. And they want to know down to how much you're using it and what you're using it for and what you intend to grow. And they ask all these questions in a support email chain. And I never replied to the last email because I thought, I've got better things to do than go into great depth over a side project. I'm developing something. I've said that in the first email. I'm developing something. I don't expect high usage. I'm trying to use it. So I logged back in the other day because I was going to use it as part of Liquid Sky stuff. And it said your account's suspended. Suspended, not outright banned or whatever. It's like
Right.
it's suspended. So I tried to send some emails and it got to their dashboard, but they won't deliver them because the account's suspended. So they let me create an API key. They let me send an email through the API key, but it won't go beyond them. So I emailed the support and I said, look, I think that the problem is that I didn't continue the chain last time. I'd like to reactivate the account. They replied with, you can't reactivate an account. Once it's blocked, it's blocked.
But it's not blocked.
This is what the problem. They said, once we've deactivated an account, once it's suspended, we can't unsuspend it. You have to create a new account with a plus in the email. So when I sign up, use a plus. So I signed up using that, and I immediately got a rejection email saying, sorry, we have evaluated this and do not feel this is a valid use, and they rejected my second sign up.
What?
So I went back to the support and I said, well, you told me to do this, and now that's bounced me out again. So I went in and I said, I'm going to go to a different provider then. And at which point they replied with, sorry, we can't give you any more information. It's a security thing. Okay. That was it. There's no, I mean, and when I asked for support the second time, I actually said, I'm building a platform and I am looking to use the development of this. I actually do intend to take this further in the future. So they knew that I wasn't just playing around now.
Right.
And I was developing with it. And yeah. So I just went in and
I really don't remember the process for signing up for using SendGrid to be that complicated.
Yeah.
Because I use SendGrid in all of these apps for email verification and password resets and all of that fun stuff.
Yeah. And I know I'm not going to be using it drastically in any time soon, right? But the point is, that's how they want to treat a developer trying to build something. Like, why can't you reactivate that account? What is stopping you from reactivating that account? It's clearly active still because your servers are sending messages to it, but they just won't relay them via SMTP. It's not like the infrastructure's all of a sudden been disabled for that account. You let me create an API key, so all the account information is clearly intact.
I think it's waiting room, but yeah, that's really annoying.
Oh, yeah, I forgot there's actually a command or something.
I didn't know there was a command.
You were really close though. Just no dash.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get the email stuff kind of tightened up this weekend and maybe get that stuff done, because it would be nice to move on from that piece.
What did you say you were changing it to? You're using instead?
I haven't figured that out yet, so I'm just gonna use local SMTP relay on.
Oh, okay.
I'm just gonna set up like a papercut or something for right now.
I think in the age of AI, it's just more personable if you just send it yourself, just manually click it, copy paste their email.
Yuck.
I'll build a platform, and then every single customer that signs up, I will actually write the email.
Honestly, just send it through the post office.
We're gonna make it down to pigeons pretty soon.
USPS will be happy with that idea. Like, we're going back to the paper ways. Although if AI carries on the trajectory it is, a lot of people are going to start using paper mail anyway, just because they just don't trust it. They think the machines are going to take over.
You may have to extend your expiration date, but that's fine.
has a 5-minute expiry. You must use this code within 5 minutes. If you
And then you
don't,
send,
you must request a new one
request a new one, but it has to be by mail.
via postal. Oh, good grief.
It's like chess by mail, but they're playing a completely different
Oh, gosh. Gosh.
So I started listening to the software architecture book because I was like,
Mhm.
okay, I've put this one off. I should try and listen to it and see if I can learn something, because I think at this point I have to accept that I want to be a software architect, right? I'm just writing software. I'm trying to architect something, and it just has the longest introduction to why we are software architects or whatever, and then what the role of the software architect is. And it's not just about code, it's about politics, it's about all sorts of other
Oh,
stuff.
good grief.
I'm like,
I
and
just want to be a code monkey, Ben.
I was literally sat at my desk, and I felt myself just slowly sleeping. I'm like, okay, we gotta stand up now and turn that off, because I'm just gonna be fast asleep. It's not healthy to sit listen to that. So, but it's
Yeah, I
titled
learn really well through audio media. It's usually both video and audio. Like I'll have YouTube. I have my screen set up so that YouTube is like in the top right corner, the app is in the bottom right corner, and then Visual Studio's on the left half.
Yeah.
And I'll be watching Blazor. Right now, it's mostly sound engineering, Fruity Loops, all that stuff while I'm working.
I've been trying to figure out how, like, what techniques I can use to learn stuff with, and I think that I learn best when I'm doing and I'm able to discuss it, and that's what I miss the most, is being able to discuss it with people that understand where I'm heading and what I'm doing, and have that kind of back and forth, and kind of grow through the technology at the same time. I've tried reading things, and I I was joking yesterday with some colleagues. So I found out yesterday that my colleagues were watching my stream yesterday morning on the conversation about refactoring. So we got into a meeting, and my colleague's like, I've got you up on 2 screens now. I'm actually sat watching the VOD as well, while talking to you,
No,
which
they
was
even watch
just
the
weird.
VODs.
But he was he was listening
Whoa.
to me talk about the how to refactor and stuff, and it's the exact same problem we have to do. So we got into a meeting, and but on the architecture side, it just made me realize that we need to. Engineers are going to overcomplicate, and they're going to try and solve every little problem in minute detail all the time. And that's where we lose the agility in the software development practice, right? But we just like, oh, well, what if this, and we'll solve this problem, and what if this, and we need to fix this, and we need to answer this question, but we haven't got those questions yet. So I was like going through the software architecture piece and thinking, this is why I want to do this, because again, there's a lot of developers that don't really care about that, but then you start asking them questions, and they dig deeper and deeper and deeper into the problems, and then they start writing the software based around that.
Well, I really like the comment you made this morning about how nobody has an opinion during those meetings too, until someone actually implements something.
Yeah.
And then everyone has opinion.
Yeah.
It's a very true statement. It's hard to face, but it's a very true statement.
Because back on the learning side of that, is like that's why, because I think I'm not alone in the fact that some people just can't visualize. We talk about it, some people can pick up the terms, some people understand the wording in great detail, but they don't actually know what we're talking about until we actually see it in code and can actually read it as code. And I think that's often a challenge. So once they see something implemented, they're like, oh, well, no, we don't like this. This is horrible. Why are we doing this?
Why would anyone do this? But you don't know until you actually see an implementation that you're like, no, there is a different way to do this, and this is what it is. This is how you should be doing it.
Like, so I think that's why I draw so many diagrams on the stream. I think that's why, like, Deflux asked a question yesterday on the GitHub thing, and we kind of went back and forth a little bit. Well, I actually watched he asked it in my Discord and your Discord, and I kind of read the both of what and tried to figure it out. And Mojo kind of joined in and added a lot of context and a lot of ideas to it.
Yeah.
And
He's like, I remember that now.
I actually found myself sat there in Excalibur drawing out what Deflux was describing, so I could actually picture, okay, what would my solution be to this? Because I just do better with a visual of the actual problem.
Atlassian has some good. I don't know if like the Git graph or the Git tree works for you, as far as the visualization, but Atlassian has some really good ones, and I actually just developed our flow based on their pictures. I was like, that one looks nice. The linear ones.
Yeah. Atlassian, the company that's shutting down Bitbucket, their own Git.
They gotta know when to hold them and know when to fold them, you know?
Yeah.
Wait, did you just say that Bitbucket is getting shut down?
Yeah, I think they're shutting Bitbucket down now.
I told you I'm not into current events in any field other than, is Blazor getting an update and is it going to be easier for other people to want to use it? But yeah, like Bitbucket was at least one of the best places for doing even LFS, better than GitHub.
Yeah.
So man, oh man, are they still gonna host the existing content? Do you know? That is a lot.
I'm not sure, because I've moved out of that ecosystem. We don't use Bit, but we use GitHub. And that's their problem, right? Most people are using Jira and they're using Confluence and stuff, but they're staying in GitHub for their source control. Whereas what they want you to do is move entirely into that ecosystem. And yeah, but I think, my point earlier on about the communities, we kind of like this idea. We like this idea of a shared community. We like this idea of everything in one place, so we don't have to keep bouncing around. And what happens is, when a company does that, we end up with, well, I don't like their way of doing this, so I'm going to go and create this, and then I'm going to go and create this. And JetBrains did it with Space. They tried to create this platform where you could do source control, you could do documentation, you could do work tracking, you could do the entire thing as your DevOps style as well. And then they realized, this isn't working. People aren't using this or buying this in this way, because people still like to use GitHub, and they don't like to log into our stuff to use GitHub because it actually synchronizes to theirs as well. And so they're trimming back what Space actually is to more the work tracking thing, I think. But
I
create this ecosystem and people.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So I jokingly added you the other day about creating this quote unquote everything app. And mostly joking because I don't know how to actually put into words my thought process on it. However, the federation of the Fediverse is oh, sorry, I got a Teams notification. I was like, I don't have any meetings. The federation of it all, or the federation of the Fediverse, is kind of like the backbone of the idea in my head, where there's essentially no one thing can do it all. Now, granted, that's for a lot of the Fediverse is social media. However, if you look at open source apps with extensions, some get close to being able, somebody's created a good extension for that. There aren't many open source apps that have the extensions that could quote unquote, do it all. Obsidian's so close, it's just not open source. They allow extensions though, so it gets close. But there's a working idea in my head on what I would like out of an app, because I'm just tired of going to multiple, websites like YouTube versus, social media, news feed. I just want everything in one place and have it be this modular layout where you can just, say, okay, well, this box over here has my YouTube feed. this box over here has my, Mastodon or news, something like that. But I feel like these things are possible when it's like open source and it's like got a decent community using it who also wants to make it better. But again, I know I'm like an open source shell to an extent.
I kind of like the process of hunting down resources and finding gems, but that it's a massive waste of time for when I'm looking for one specific thing. Like, how do I do this other thing? But at the same time, I also uncover other gems. Like, here's a better way to do this other thing that you were working on earlier, or that you plan on working on later. That's also semi-adjacent. So I kind of like that process.
The challenge is if we're trying to build like my platform stuff, right? I'm trying to build a planning application first because I think that's going to demonstrate the concepts that I have first. I do plan on taking that to ticketing and to the story side of things. So now I'm trying to create an application that is all things. I'm not going to be an expert in all those things, so I'm going to fall short on some of the pieces. And when people start to realize those pieces are falling short, that's when they go to alternatives that are focused on that thing. So maybe one option I have is to say, okay, well, as much as I don't like using Jira, maybe the planning aspect of mine feeds to Jira, so you can still use that workflow and move through that. Every time we try and create something that solves all the problems, we fall short because it's kind of what's the phrase? There's the phrase that covers it. That's basically we cannot be experts on every single thing. So if you get
jack of all trades, master of none.
Yes, that's the one. And that's every time we come up against an app like that we think we want, and we do want it. We do want this concept, but how do you make it solve all the problems and solve them well? And how do you keep it up? And open source would be an answer to that, right? If you could create an open source core project that allows you to just plug these things in, that's fine. But then you get into that realm of, well, guess what? Now you've got other developers involved and they have opinions. And they have opinions about how you should do that and what should be done and how it comes. And so it kind of just morphs over time. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just saying that's exactly
that didn't sound negative to me at all.
But we keep doing that sort of stuff where we try and produce something to solve all the problems and end up falling short on some areas. So then people go off and find their own way to solve that problem, and we come back around on fragmented solutions.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's kind of funny that you bring that up because lately, something that has been coming up a lot in videos that I'm being exposed to, because I'm not really purposefully choosing them, I guess, is this concept of how with mostly AI, we're all expected to be informed about every single topic, essentially. We can do anything because we have AI. One of the areas that this came up in was music production, because again, I'm doing a lot of stuff with music, and it was in animation, I'm sorry, making videos and using Stable Diffusion and all of the other models to generate visual media, motion media at that. So animators are no longer needed and jobs are getting thrown away. All that stuff is like, not necessarily. It's just we're now expected to be these jack of all trades, master of some, which is a lot different than the jack of all trades, master of none mentality we've been taught growing up. It's like specialize in one specific field and go carve out your space, secure your place in that field, and you will be successful in life. And now it's like, no, learn a little bit about a lot of things, but still also specialize a couple of things. That's like really hard on a lot of people right now.
I mean, if you've built software for more than a few minutes, right, you realize that you can build something, right? We can all build something. We can put a UI on something and we can make it go to the server. It might take some of us longer than others. We might use different tools, but we can do it. We can build something that captures data and puts into a database. But the best products benefit from having the people who are really good at the pieces in between, like the scalability of the back end by people who really understand those problems and how to solve those problems, and the visuals on the client side, having the best UI UX people involved in that process, and then the best developers to produce that. Like that is that, that's where we get the best applications, I feel.
Yes. We have a dad joke bot, dude.
Double dad jokes.
Yeah.
We're all winning today.
I'm heading over to Siribot to tell him that we already have a dad joke bot. He thinks. Unless you guys want double dad jokes every time. Doesn't bother me. 2 for the price of 1. How much does one cost?
I'm happy seeing the dad jokes.
I'll take them all then. All right. So what were the jokes anyway? Dukabot says, did you know crocodiles could grow up to 15 feet? But most just have 4.
Dukabot's joke was the better.
It was amazing. I just don't laugh at jokes, do I? Such a rude. Why did the cookie cry? It was feeling crummy. That one was worse than Dukabot's joke. Hello, I need attention.
Dukabot's joke was the better joke. The other one was. That's a good solid like toddler style joke.
I guess Siribot is trying to be extra family friendly, I guess. Hi, Proggers. Happy Friday to you. President not sure is
Dukabot
here.
should, when the dad joke command comes in, it should wait for Siribot and then reword it, but in a better way. Just constantly one-upping.
Yes. You're like, well, look, here's a better one. Ignore that thing. Oh.
And Napalm said specialize. Yeah, right. I realize that we don't get the option to specialize much. It's a nice idea, and the companies that do get to do it normally have large teams and have evolved those roles.
Does this happen to you? Like, do you have AI code generator in Writer? Because I remember you complaining about, I'm talking to you, TBD, sorry. I remember you talking about not liking Copilot, GitHub Copilot, because it's slow to bring up the generations.
Sometimes it's like, sometimes it gives you a solution, and then you hit backspace, then it doesn't show up and you have to mess around.
Yeah. So like right now, this is what's happening to me, where I'm like, I'm typing stuff and I'm like expecting to be able to see it, and it's like, here's your suggestion, but if you push spacebar, it goes away, and I'm like, just.
Yeah, I've tried also writing a comment before what I want to do to see if it does it.
Yeah. So I'm just wondering if that happens in whatever AI tool, if there is one in Writer, if that happens in that.
I'm not. Well, I mean, I'm not sure it's not a conflict of AI plus the autocomplete and auto suggestion stuff fighting each other as well. Sometimes, because it will give you suggestions for method completion, etc.
Mine constantly compete, and I think the solution that every time it annoys me, I'm like, oh, I know what I need to do here, is that I think I just want to turn off the Copilot hints and only generate it on the hotkey that apparently exists that I never remember.
Alt/ or something. This one? This thing? I was greeting someone, so I didn't fully hear what you said. I'm sorry.
No. There's a few. That might be one. There's
Control
a few.
Spacebar for getting IntelliSense. Control Shift Spacebar for methods.
But yeah, it appears when I don't want it, because I'm actually just waiting for the autocomplete to come up. or it doesn't appear when I want it, So
Yeah.
I think if I just like use a hotkey and the hotkey only, I think there's also one that's like control and then one of the brackets, something in a bracket. I remember, for like generating like the next pin, because like there's like 5 that it has ready for you, and I don't know in Visual Studio where like those show up if it's a separate window.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure which the other ones are that you're talking about. I know that you can set which. Actually, I think they moved it to only have GitHub Copilot, and there is no more IntelliSense, IntelliCode. It's like all GitHub Copilot now. Because it used to be underneath the editor, where you could have it using GitHub Copilot or IntelliCode, or if you had the AWS code thingy, you choose which one you want it to use. But I'm not sure I know the other part of it.
You can't get me back on the Visual Studio after Writer.
Oh no, that's fine.
even
Yeah,
if
if you
I have
like
to pay
it,
for it out of my pocket.
yeah. If it's working for you and you found it to be a better experience, then do it.
I think for me, Visual Studio is again just too slow at this point.
Hmm.
Rider is definitely faster, even when you have to restart it every day for the Copilot.
In other words, it still has its quirks too, but it's still overall better for you.
Yeah, of course. But I opened a project the other day, and it
We don't
opened in
need to
Visual
work
Studio, and actually it was actually Copilot slowing down the startup of Visual Studio as well. Visual Studio is on the latest version; it's all updated,
Nice.
and then it just took so long that I'm like, no, Rider's just better. And I haven't done much C# development in VS Code, but actually seeing the size of my project stuff now, I don't think I'd want to try and tackle it with VS Code. That would be very scary for me. And once you get used to an IDE, shifting to any other process, I mean, whether it has its advantages or whatnot, is hard to do, and it's hard to flip-flop back and forth.
Yeah, I agree. It's like I've become yeah, we've talked about that before. I won't go there. I'll go with this one. I've been using Visual Studio since 2009 or whatever it was called. Anyway, whatever it was called at the time. Visual Studio Express, I guess. And just kept growing with it. I've learned all the keyboard shortcuts. I know how to navigate everywhere that I want to go. I enjoy using it. It has its quirks that I've learned how to work around pretty quickly, so it's not a big time sink to me. And then if I go to another IDE, then it's like need to relearn all of that just to get to the point that I'm at with Visual Studio. Maybe it's faster in Writer to get to that point, but I just don't have a need to, since there isn't anything that's breaking my ability to be productive.
Yeah. I'd say it streamed most of my transition from Visual Studio to Rider. Like I was using Visual Studio for projects, and then I kind of opened Rider a few times, and I know several times on stream like, I'm just not used to using it that way. Yeah, I'll do Visual Studio. I'll move to Rider one day, etc. And then one day I just decided to just sit down and work with Rider first, rather than doing it like ad hoc. But I almost documented that path of that challenge of, oh, well, I'm not comfortable there. I'll whack it. But it's why I'll never use Vim or any VI style stuff. I just don't want to mess around playing with a keyboard. I know that some people can be very quick at it. I've witnessed people who are amazing at using it.
That's where I was not going, because it's like we know that there are many opinions about.
Yeah. And it's definitely cultist around that particular path.
Yeah,
but it's
disclaimer banner.
Yeah, sorry. But
this is good. I love opinion. I'm telling you, I really genuinely mean it, that I love hearing people talk about their strong opinions about a thing.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, but I'm 25 years into a career. I've used Visual Studio for a chunk of that. I've used Rider for the last 3 or 4 years solidly. I'm used to a keyboard and mouse, and trying to stop and make my brain work out how to do things with just the keyboard and use the keyboard shortcuts and stuff in there. I just don't want to spend that time necessary to go and relearn an entire moving between Visual Studio and Rider is just learning where to point the mouse in a different place and the quirks of the editor. It's not about how to now use a completely different input method, and I think that's why I've discarded that. I'm not spending several months trying to retrain myself and slowing down my entire development process, which I will, to try and learn how to use Vim to then be like, oh yeah, I'm way faster now. I just don't want to do it.
The time thing is completely acceptable as an answer. However, I don't think it takes much time. And TV for you specifically, I think I can use this as an example. Is that for work you use Mac, for your project you use Windows, so you switch between those, and I assume it's with ease these days.
Yeah.
So, I feel that's the same way between editors. Like, for a while when I first started working, I used Visual Studio for work stuff, Writer for personal stuff, or like I just switch between like different types of keyboards like day in, day out. But it didn't take long for it to become muscle memory, I guess, where I don't even think about the IDE I'm in a lot of the time. Or I don't think about like, oh, what's different in this one specifically. Now, not wanting to spend the time is completely fine, but I do think the muscle memory of it comes relatively quick, where you can do most of the same things, and especially with Visual Studio and Writer, like the hotkeys you can just map to be the same hotkeys. But yeah, it for me, like IDEs or keyboards or anything specifically, or anything like that specifically, is the same as switching between a Mac and a Windows in the same day. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. For me, it's on a need basis. It's like, do I need to switch IDs? Am I not able to do software development because Visual Studio is just so bad that I need an alternative kind of thing? And no, it's doing everything that I need and doing it pretty well. But I don't know what I'm missing out if I haven't experienced the other things, so it might be worth it to try out something else.
The allegory of the cave. The cave's a beautiful place to be.
Yeah.
I
love my caves. In fact, I'm gonna go get my friend my cave. Keep talking. And no one explodes.
I actually considered at one point, I was like, okay, we'll make it a sub goal. If we get a sub goal, we'll do transition me over to Vim and see how long it takes me to lose my mind.
Jesus, that does not sound like fun to me. But if it's fun to you, I didn't
say I'd set the sub goal low. Although knowing my defuncts are coming and troll me and
switch it every 5 minutes. I'll spend the money to switch it.
You could just do a community goal instead.
Yeah.
Switch to Vim for a week or something. For 50,000 points, whatever.
Yeah. I like the points-based stuff. It gets the interaction there.
Yeah.
And there's somebody I watched, White Panther. Like, she has that where like people switch like dark mode, light mode on her and stuff. And it's just fun to watch because like the engagement's there. So like that aspect of streaming is there. Like, I guess if that's what you're doing it for, that's an easy way to get that. But it seems to
can also
not
be a distraction to some people.
Yeah. It seems.
Yeah, but she does it
like she's gotten used to it.
Yeah. Her finite is really good at having those interactions that could or are abused, I should say. But he's okay with it. He's absolutely got no issues with it, and he enjoys it. which makes his community enjoy it.
BBB was the first streamer I found that was that super interactive, and he put a lot of work into that. Obviously, he's gone to the co-working path these days, so his stream isn't quite as active, but he still has a lot of interactions in there. To me, I'm just not. I don't want to spend the time working on that sort of stuff and get it involved in the stream. It's why I don't have many channel point rewards. It is something I probably should turn off. Like I want to code. I want to share the code. I want to talk about the code.
You want to talk about technology and programming.
Yeah. And it's hard enough reading chat with my attention span. It's hard enough reading chat. You want to change my IDE calls on me and see how that goes? I'm never coding, right? Nothing will get done because I'm like, oh no, now it's white, now it's pink, oh no, I can't do this. So I know my limitations, and I know that I'm not trying to be entertaining.
It's over 9,000.
I kind of like that. Well, and this is what's good about community days. Because of the way that I have it set up where you guys are listening through Discord, you can't hear the stream. When people are constantly spamming audio redemptions, you guys can't hear it. So you don't get interrupted with whatever it is you're saying.
Yeah.
I hope that's a way that I can respect you guys.
No, that makes sense. It's yeah, my attention span is bad and the best of days these days, so I don't need to put quirky. Like I get it, but I'm also not a very energetic guy either. So it's not like I'm going to be having fun with that.
As it is.
That would just be awkward and cringy, and no one's going to watch that. So yeah, but channel points rewards for doing stuff like that, like switching over to them and stuff. I can see how that kind of could be fun. Because I know that chat in general can be a little sadistic at times.
What do you mean?
I got to step away for a minute. I'll be back.
Okay. But yeah, Dukasoft absolutely loves to use people's redemptions if they have them. Which is good. I mean, like, I think it's a form of appreciating the streamer who went to the time to put those redemptions in there. I kind of fell into the trap where I felt obligated to have redemptions and stuff when I went affiliate. So I'm
waiting for you to
like them as much.
To create a something I could spend these 50,000 points on.
You can play 50,000 archeries.
I could, but just something unhinged that may come up. Just like TV said, he's not going to put like a low number in there. If you end up getting that, I'm saving these for when that high number reward comes in.
Absolutely. And I have been thinking about doing a lot of stuff. Yes. I did a big gamey shot just there. There are tons of things that I would love to be able to just provide as entertainment, as something fun to do while you're listening to opinionated developer drone on about this is how you're supposed to do Blazor. Watch me do it the right way, and everyone modulate me or whatever. Emulate me. Use the mod wheel on me.
Actually, yeah. TV gave me, or like this conversation gave me an idea that if I had something like this in mind where, chat could decide, then I could have it where they switch the project I'm working on, and I'll finally like make progress through all of the projects that I have on my backlist, because it's just like new project, or not creating a new one, but like switch projects, and then I'll finally actually just be forced to, okay, well, there's something I have to do on this one now. I don't know if you have like a large project backlog.
Have you seen my Azure DevOps for my actual work?
ADO, no.
Let's see. Dev.com. No, not the whole browser. Just the tab, please. On the browser. Yes, stay signed in. This is the browser that you're supposed to be signed into. Oh yeah, I forgot that everything went down, so I had to re-sign in to everything. These are the projects that I work on for my current job. And each of these, well, the ones that say they don't all say Blazor on them. There are a whole bunch of web applications that I maintain and manage. And right now I'm focused on water management, adding a filter to a grid, which I just deployed this morning. So happy about that. RMA Water, which is adjacent to that. It's the reporting system for all of the information that gets entered using water management. S-Track, which is for all of our soil sampling and groundwater sampling that we send to the lab. R-Track, which is the thing that the lab uses to log all of the sampling. Chain of custody. Oh, sorry, this is the one where we actually send it to the lab. My bad. And then we get it back from the lab, and then we use S-Track to import it, and then that also gets reported via RMA Water. And so all of these apps, they work together, but they are individual web applications. But yes, it's a backlog.
One thing that I think, well, I guess between ADO and GitHub, like they feel the same. One thing I've been trying to figure out is what does, how there's like, clean like, software setup, or just like setting up software, and like that's easy to find information on. One thing I haven't seen information on is and it's slightly related, Azure portal itself. Just every time I click into our Azure portal to look at resources, I'm like, looks like a mess. I don't know if it's just like that's just the nature of
I'm not really in
setting
Azure
up the
all that
cloud,
much.
but
all of our stuff is hosted on AWS, so I don't really have a reason to be in Azure portal, except that now I have a partner, whatever that pack is called, Action Pack. So okay. I should be using my credits, and I should be in Azure more often, but I would assume that it doesn't look very organized.
In AWS, when you're looking for a project, like when you're looking for like the actual resource that something's on, is it easy to find for you, or because I haven't messed with AWS much? Okay.
Let me see if I can get my personal AWS one showing.
And is it like, is naming convention a thing? Is it just that like Azure's UI is awful?
Yeah, it's you don't even have to worry about naming conventions because it's all grouped together in what I would call, well, you have to learn what their technologies are first. So there is a learning curve. Console.
Oh yeah, because they beanstalk. What does that mean? Come on.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, what would you call it in Elastic Beanstalk? The Elastic Cloud Compute makes sense, the EC2s, but you have to know that they're called EC2s and what they're for fully. S3 for your storage solutions, and MFA is what I'm looking for. What's the other one that you already said? EBS. Oh, RDS, which if you think about it hard enough, you know what it is. The ones that are still mysterious to me are their AI platforms. I can't even think of the name. Is
Beanstalk named after, like, what is it, Jack and the Giant Beanstalk?
I don't know. I really don't know. I only know how to use it. That's about it. Which one of these is my personal one? There. Authentication.
Oh yeah, Napalm's like, because it grows like a beanstalk. Read the book. Okay, well, it is Jack and the Giant Beanstalk.
Obviously. Oh, there it is.
It's like the container services, Docker all the way to Kubernetes and everything in between. The names don't help. Well, I guess Docker in a way, and maybe Portainer. But what does help is the icons of everything, the logos. I understand what everything's doing after looking at the logos. It's just all nautical themed. And it's like, what part of the logistics process are you in?
I have no idea what my login is for my personal AWS. AWS.
Oh, Thendel, I just wanted to make sure you knew I was joking when I said no. when you offered me a suggestion earlier. I was just so quick. I was like, no,
No.
and that was
Just
it.
no.
Nothing else.
Uh-uh. I refuse.
Are you
Opinions
trying to
not
help
welcome
me? No.
here. Okay. What do you say now? Can I do this? Yay! Update my password, please. Put something else in my clipboard too. I'm gonna pasta on the screen and pasta my password. Okay, I don't think there's anything terrible showing on this screen. I guess my bill, but it's pretty low. It's like $30. Projected to be $50 by the end of the month. But so like the thing that I love about using AWS is that you can get to the places that you've been to recently pretty easily. And they have enough spaces in this that pretty much any of the places that you would normally be going to are easy to get to. I'm pulling you into the room, Thindle. Because they're all already on this recently visited. So like EC2, Route 53, and RDS and EBS are the places that I go the most.
Hello, everyone.
Oh.
Hello, Tyndall.
Hey, Tyndall. Now, I see that at the top of your screen. Oh, maybe that's grayed out. It says reset to default layout. So I'm assuming you can move those from the...
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Is this the default layout?
It is.
Okay. Because in Azure, I had to create like a whole separate dashboard just so it could like be a layout that made sense. But I was like, I don't want to create a dashboard. Like I want you all to use your UX people that get paid to do this.
Exactly. And give me a default one that is usable.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, a default won't be usable for you and your specific requirements.
Well, that's the thing about the UI UX people. They will consider which one would be most broad reaching that everyone would just be able to pick up and use without needing to make customizations. Or if they do, they're small customizations.
UX law states that everybody's already used to every other system, so just make it look like every other system.
Exactly.
When was the last time that you saw
standard.
your account settings weren't in the top right corner or something?
Right. Or under your profile at least, wherever your profile happens to be.
I've seen them in the left menu in the bottom.
Yes, you have. But most people are used to seeing it with your... Oh, nice.
Oh, like with like the Electron apps? Like VS Code and Discord? I think are the two that I can think of.
For example, yeah. Discord is like that. Which I saw.
But it's still with your profile name.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the thing. So like they know to look for a profile, your badge. And if you click on that, then it's most likely going to have some kind of settings or account settings or something like that. It's not just in a hamburger menu. Unless the hamburger menu is your login, log out. Like it's not here.
I concur.
Oh man. I heard well, you got it right, so I'll let you.
Awesome. Well, it's Bit Gamey, so he knows us already, but definitely going to give him a shout out real quick. Thank you so much for the raid, Bit Gamey. We're in the middle of Community Day. Currently in the voice channel, we have Mojo Fawad and Thindle.
I was just over there.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I love hearing about it because this is like the one. It feels like it's one of the most contested or controversial like things in UI UX, and it's just the hamburger menu in general. You either have people that hate it or love it.
It kind of needs some way of hiding the menu if you have a small screen, right?
But could you use the three dots to represent it? But this is usually a drop-down menu or a popover, whatever they're called, flyout.
And so
this thingy here.
The reason the hamburger menu just is going to be stuck in my head forever is because in our app when I first started, we had a table. We had a table that was just a list of whatever was in the table, right? and every table had like an action you could perform, which we normally see as like the 3 dots. But ours were the hamburger menu specifically. And to me, the hamburger menu on a table of like many items is like a drag and drop.
Yeah. A hamburger menu is a system-wide menu, in my opinion. It can be
Right,
personalized
so-
depending on where you are, but it's like, it's a
Oh
navigation
yeah,
of
yeah. I can
site.
show
Right.
an example of that.
Yeah, like on Amazon or on AWS, like right there.
Oops. Oh,
Uh,
sorry. I'm going back.
No, I mean, like, that was a perfect example of like proper use of the hamburger menu. And then like, I don't necessarily think that a hamburger menu can't be in a table, but if it's in a table, to me, you put your cursor on it and you drag that entire row up somewhere.
I agree. Especially, yeah, you had a hand over the left stuff there.
Yeah, that shows
Ours
you
is
that
a
it's
context
pickupable.
menu.
I would probably just have an X or something on the right. What's under that menu?
Exactly.
there
So
was
this
such a
is
thing,
this
Loki.
is a flyout, and then this is the universal
Handle.
sign for you can grab onto this and move it around.
Yeah, but why do they have a flyout with one item in it?
I don't know.
No.
Because they do. Because it didn't
There's
look
something
good.
that I.
They're
when it was
reusing,
just-
they're
remark
reusing
on.
the card or something.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Why does the services have a grid icon but don't show a grid?
It's an applications icon. So this icon doesn't mean grid. This icon means apps.
In
Does
this
it have a
specific
name?
case, or
Well,
In
if you inspect
general.
element, does it have a name?
Yes, I can't think of it. But the one that's for list is a dot with a line through it. If it's a list of stuff or a table of stuff, or a dot line, dot line, dot line, just look at popular font icons. Like my favorite Remix icon.
Font awesome.
No, not Font Awesome. That is not one of my favorites. Oh
Font
my
not
gosh,
cool.
why are you white? Yeah, if we did app, so these are apps. I know that there's the square grid. I guess let's look up grid, and this is what Thindle is saying. So yeah, it is the grid one. Interesting. If you go to something
I
like
kind of think
Office,
of the Windows 8 start menu more or less, or the the cards that are in the start menu. Hate them, love them. I don't care about that, but that's what that reminds me of, like big tiles for
Right.
different applications, or a grid of cards or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess that
On-
is true, because when I'm thinking about what it looks like when you're in Office and you're picking one of the applications that are available in there, it's that menu icon, but the actual icons for each app is a tile.
Yeah.
You're right.
Tile was the word I was looking for. Live tile
I
in
heard
Windows
that.
8 and 10.
1 is it because like you were on the smaller screen?
Probably. I'm
But
not
you
going
had
to make
it-
my screen bigger on this one, but possibly. Let me see if it actually does expand.
By zooming out, I think that works.
No, I don't want to do that because it'll show more information than I want it to.
Oh, all right.
Like, do they just give you tiles in a certain view size? Now I'm
No, it
looking
looks
at
exactly
Office.
the same. It looks exactly
Okay.
the same.
Yeah, I feel like tiles would actually make sense on a smaller view, but
Yeah. But I mean, I am used to this, so that's the other thing. It's been similar to this for a really long time. This layout is completely different, but it did have like, the list of services. And maybe that's what happened. The original one possibly had all of the services in a grid type format or layout. Yeah, so all of these,
Possible.
but now it looks like this, where you pick a category and then you have your options for that category.
UI and UX, do you think, and I just got this idea or thought now, would there be a case where you could say, yeah, your screen is too small, so the experience here is going to be awful? I'm thinking like, you open up AWS admin or whatever on your really tiny phone, and it's like,
It
yeah,
looks,
you're barely going to be able to use this anyways, so
Yeah,
let's
it's-
just tell you that, no, get a bigger screen.
Well, the answer is that they do have responsive on the AWS.
There. So, I don't want to say this is one of those it depends answers. I'm sure there are like a minimal amount of things that do exist where you don't want to use it on the phone. Our app is one. You submit spreadsheets. Like that spreadsheet's going to live on your computer. So why would you ever be on your phone on our platform? Doesn't really make sense. However, we do have to pass accessibility standards, and there is a reflow rule in accessibility.
I was
So
thinking, like, would you want to set up an EC2 from your phone?
Yes. Or I've logged into my
I would
EC2.
love to.
Yes.
Yeah, log into it maybe and
I've
look at info about
updated
it.
the security groups from my phone, which you have to go into the EC2. I don't know what these are called. They'd be called Blade in Azure.
Yeah.
The
Page works.
what's it called? Yeah, when it comes to like stuff like that, where because I don't know if you've used if anybody's used the Azure app itself, which is like missing so many features, it doesn't really make sense. Is for things where I'm like, oh, I want to do this from my phone, like I just like open up a terminal app and put in all the command line arguments for whatever I'm trying to do,
I don't even
which
think I have. Oh, I do have it installed.
is not fun.
What? I have it
It's
installed.
missing so many
You're right.
features.
I had
Like-
MS-DOS on my old phone.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I did too. Actually, I had a Windows phone.
Yeah.
This was
HTC
essentially a
Incredible.
conversation I've had recently with my senior developer as far as like GraphQL specifically, and he was telling me, so I'm not responsible for misinformation. He was telling me that like I think it was like Meta that developed GraphQL because like they didn't want to send as much information to their mobile clients, so they came up with this like easy way to like essentially do both without having to create like different endpoints or send too much information and then like worry about it on the worry about like actually parsing it on the client side. And in my head I was just thinking the whole time like, okay, I'm sure that made sense when the iPhones were new and like cellular coverage wasn't as great as it is today, but there aren't many cases where I can think of like realistically, like, would I be happy if like a web app or a website was providing me less information if I was using it from my phone?
I'm not crazy about GraphQL facing the customer. Internally, absolutely. Between different microservices, for example, use GraphQL every day of the week. But facing the customer, I mean, you're basically just allowing them to CRUD. And I know, you kind of compartmentalize them.
Right.
A bit so you can only access their information and what they have access to, but it's still, you put all of the logic on the client in that case and just have your backend as a server, more or less. And I'm not crazy about that.
So prog testing is also talking to Azure, being crappy UI. It's not obvious how to navigate to each category or where things are. It is not intuitive. It's more like, this is how we do it, learn it. And that's true about a lot of Microsoft products, in my opinion.
I hated the Azure Blades when they came out. I used the old portal forever. But the old portal was so easy because it had 12 services or something. So it was really easy to find stuff. And then they had to go and make a new portal with hundreds of services and just complicated everything.
Keeping my Microsoft friends to a minimum. Nice, Mojo. You don't have to, but I guess since I did mention this also, I'm kind of shifting topics kind of jarringly, I guess. But prog testing did ask a question in Discord, and I'm wondering if either of you two have experience with needing to access a local database from a web app that is not SQLite, or just have ideas and information on it.
Can you say that again?
Yeah, so accessing a local database, so probably local data store, maybe would be a more generic way to say it. From a SPA app, he's specifically talking Blazor WebAssembly, but any SPA app would do. Yeah, and it's not SQLite that he's using as the data store.
Yeah. No, in general, I'd front it with something. Could be Azure Functions if you're on Azure or any other platform as a service,
Let's say it's
whatever. I would not expose the
constrained.
database
Let's say
directly.
it's constrained to being only a client-side application, web application. PWA
Okay.
is what I meant.
Yeah. Local DB.
A local
Oh, no,
DB.
that's not native.
Wait.
Local storage.
And I wouldn't use
Has
local
stable
storage
storage.
either. I was hoping you'd bring that up. So why do you
Well-
say local storage? Or actually, Mojo has a thing to say. Sorry.
Well, so I was just gonna ask for clarification because this is an option in the IDEs that I do not know what it is. I've just never played around with it. When you create a new project, there's an option for local DB instead of SQLite. Is that what we're talking about?
No, it's
No.
just
Okay.
I actually don't know what data store he's using, but I think he's looking for options for data stores that are not SQLite or references to ways to interact with it.
And I assume that the SPA is also on local, so we're not asking like how does some random deployed SPA interact with our local database?
Postgres.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, on the client, you have IndexedDB, for example. I
Exactly.
think you
That's
could
another one that I
use.
would talk about.
Yeah. And of course, local storage, session storage. You have a bunch of different places to store things in the web. And I think you have access to that if you're running Blazor Hybrid, right? So you
You
don't
have
need
access to it
hide that
regardless of
behind
what
the
kind of
message.
web application you have, but yes.
Yeah. But in
And
Blazor
that's what I was
Hybrid,
trying to
you
get
also
to.
can get access. You can also get access to the actual system, file system as well from
Oh yeah,
Blazor Hybrid.
yeah.
I mean,
Gotcha. Yes, absolutely.
yeah, but you always have local storage.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that
So
is
that is
probably
a
what I
good
would do
point.
because it just works.
You have to create almost an event store that writes to exactly. So I recently learned about event sourcing, so may as well put that knowledge to use. So if you used IndexedDB, one thing that we do if the application goes offline, or actually in general, is for any edit being made. Let's say a user is editing a document that they are on the road and suddenly they lose internet and they hit the save button. Instead of it just saying, I can't access the site, I've crashed, it puts those edits in a JSON object in IndexedDB, and then it waits until there is an internet connection. It checks immediately, is there an internet connection? If so, push the changes in local edits to the server. And then if not, then keep it there, but keep checking for internet connection, or the next time that they come to the site and they have an internet connection, push those edits to the server.
Yeah.
So that's where IndexedDB does a good job. There is a thing called WebSQL that I have no idea how to use.
I'm going to
Or
guess
if it's
that just
supported.
puts a file or something on local storage, right?
I have no idea. Local storage is an option, but I don't recommend using it for doing data-oriented stuff. It's more for like random settings. WebSQL, it's deprecated. Oh no.
Assume you want to store like an image or something in your browser.
Right.
What would you use to do that?
Yeah, that could be here. It could be. It depends. Like, what am I using the image for? A grid of some. Thank you, President. Not sure. Am I using it in a grid that is like cached images, or am I using it just as a cached image for my site in general?
A grid.
Like one image, individual images versus
one individual image.
Okay, so then that would be local storage for me, because then I would just write out the data colon image
Yeah, the
format.
basic 64 image
Yeah.
encoding. Yeah.
How do you do auth with
With what?
like a Blazor desktop app or like just a Spa. 'Cause, I mean, like, I know the way.
Same way as you do, yeah, exactly, Spa.
You
There
use
is
backend for
a-
front end.
Okay.
That's how they're doing it now. They're essentially making a
simple way
backend for
of doing
front end
it.
now.
Yeah, the simple way of doing it is you go out to the internet, you find an example of the session security thingamajig, whatever it's called, and you copy paste that into the project.
PWA, not well. Right now, Mojo is
It's
asking
not
you about
terribly
SPA.
it's not terribly complicated, but it's code that I don't know why they just didn't include in .NET, if that makes sense, because I've barely seen anyone change that class. It's pretty much the same every time.
So here is one resource for you prog testing. And if you want a Blazor specific one, there is a NuGet package called IDX. I think it's called IDX. XDB. Maybe renamed it. But anyway, it's an easy way for you to get access to the index DB, so you can push objects to it, push records to it, and then try to push them to the server.
Steve Sanderson has a blog post about
this is
Richiro Blazor index DB. Are we looking at the same thing?
Yeah.
We are. Yeah.
It was really hard for me to set up in these because I got it from his card checker example, which didn't have a very robust IndexedDB solution. And so he's like, just take the idx.js file from this project, put it into this other project, throw everything together, and suddenly you are able to push stuff to the server, or to store stuff in local memory, IndexedDB. I don't even know where it is. Oh, I'm looking at Finan, man. I thought I was in TDMS.
This is this is server, right?
This app is all of them. So, or are you talking about for his blog?
No, for the application you're working on.
All of them.
Is that
it's
on all
WebAssembly, right. Server, Maui.
So you should have 2 implementations of the auth stuff in here, correct?
Right. Well, I don't have auth set up in here. Yeah, what I was gonna contribute to what you said to Mojo is another thing you could do is create a new project, select individual identity, and then you can see how they implement auth. And do it in both .NET 7 so that you can see the OpenID version, .NET 7 WebAssembly, .NET 7 Server so you can see the direct Microsoft Identity implementation, and then .NET 8 to see the new backend for front-end-ish looking thing, where it uses a cookie regardless of whether you're using the server rendering or the WebAssembly type.
Random. Has anyone tried putting minimal API registrations in another library than the main web app? Should be possible, right? You
Should be possible.
the web app.
Services, right? Or app, I mean.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's say that we were doing it in... I wouldn't do it in here. I don't know where to put it.
Same thing with different Blazor pages. You could put
Shared
those
server.
in just what's it called? Other libraries, right?
Yeah, definitely that one. So I just need to open DDMS, but in DDMS, all of my UI for the identity stuff that I've overwritten already is in a separate class library. Razor, it's a Razor class library with support for ASP.NET Razor pages, and that has all of the overridden login, logout, locked, all of the stuff. So I don't have to keep re-implementing them in other projects, but now I have to make a Blazor version of that. But same thing as putting a component library in its own, a Blazor component library in its own project. You can do that with Razor component, Razor pages, CSHTML.
You're gonna love this because I like to use APIs. I'm crazy about this, but the facade pattern. So I put all my code somewhere else, and my actual endpoints are just that, endpoints that then call into the facade. And if anything, it does data transformation, like, okay, so this needs to be in a header, for example. And that's it. All the logic is somewhere else. So my minimal APIs are actually pretty minimal.
So tell me how to set up a minimal API.
Oh, dude,
You just,
I love them.
yeah.
TVD has an
You
opinion.
just
Oh,
do
there's his
map
opinion on
or map
them.
get.
There's
If
his
you do
opinion on them.
app.mapget, for example, you don't have the correct package, or it needs to be a web app.
Right.
I hope not.
Yeah, well, that's what I think. So the easiest way to do it is to make this .razor, and then I would have it.
Yeah.
And I could still use it as a class library, but it would be using the entire .razor framework.
Yeah.
Is it?
But I wouldn't want that. So then finding which NuGet package it is that you need in order to have access to the web application object. Which I guess we can find out.
Not add minimal APIs? I forget how it's done in mine.
Too minimal. Let's make controllers out of them. It's totally not the same thing.
It's in the Microsoft.ASP.NET Core assembly. I'm not certain if that's
what
on
namespace
NuGet
is.
though. No, that's the assembly that's in. It's in Microsoft ASP.NET Core Builder as the namespace. But the question is, it's in a package called Microsoft ASP.NET Core app.ref.
If it opens. No, we are going to... Oh, it already started. Man, I'm slow. How much time did that give me? It didn't give me any time. I needed to tell me when the ad is starting. Because an ad just started and we're about to end the stream. How annoying is that?
Just a tiny bit. Is that package available? I posted a name to it in chat. The exact name.
Looking.
And I don't have studio up, so I figured I could ask you instead.
The answer is 12.
Yes. So you should be able to include that.
I should just use the Thindle source gen
Fun stuff.
Which we never did complete the source gen talk. But that's fine.
I made a source gen since then. It's terrible, but it works.
Is it different than the endpoint route builder extensions?
We're probably going to need that too. But right now I was just trying to get access to the web application object. This thing here.
Oh, that's an ASP.NET Core builder. Never mind.
Which it says that it's not there.
Can't just type map get and then see what the context actions come up.
Wait, tell me that again.
Like in your builder or in your service extensions of endpoint. Like if you type it out, I think. Let me find.
You're not completing your thoughts.
I know. endpoint route builder.
Yeah, we're not even at that point yet, though.
Well, if you hit the context menu on it, does it? Oh,
I got nothing. So we were looking for this one first, so we can have access to the app, which is what we get after we do the not services builder.build.
It's under the Microsoft ASP.NET Core Builder namespace, and it's a public sealed class. You should have access to it.
Yeah. But again, like probably the easiest thing to do would be to just go make this. Into
Yeah,
anything.
probably. Probably. I didn't
Still,
see the reference in.
I don't either. I did pick the right file, right? Oh my gosh, I can't even get back to NuGet. The reason that I am struggling to get anywhere now is because we're needing to end and I need to get back to work. Why didn't you add, dear sir or madman?
It says that it's in.
Oh,
No,
it's
it's not in.
probably oh, it's not compatible because I was doing
What if you
a-
lower the version then?
yeah. Then it was like, I don't care if you gotta go. I want to see this. You're gonna do this.
I do. Come on. Now, does the fact that you poked around in your CS Proj
Potentially.
mess with anything?
You there. Oh, I did close it, so no. I closed it before trying this.
Yeah.
Why are you still trying to install 7 or 8? That's checked. 7.
Yeah.
I guess is this project.NET 7.
Target does not exist. Package has package.NET platform that is not supported by shared server.
Yeah.
What if try 7.0?
Oh, I need to figure out. I am .NET 7.
Yeah, but you're saying .NET 7.0. You're specifying a
That
bit there. What if you?
But I mean, this is
read
greater than or equal to, right? Usually. No dependencies, it says, though.
Yeah.
Whatever. We'll go all the way back to 7.
Worst case, it doesn't work.
Quick, then it'll start, start streaming so we can join you and you can pick up on this.
Didn't work.
Ew. Dukasoft, no. Okay. Anyway, that's where we are going to stop for today. So you know what time it is? We'll start with Mojo today.
No blockers. Well, I pulled your repo and I'm trying to do what you're trying to do on stream. So that's what I'm working on for the rest of the day.
For the rest of the day, we'll post your results in Discord. He said no blockers. Dindle.
Yeah. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. I might spend some time working on a Azure DevOps pipeline to deploy my stream project, or I might play Satisfactory.
Oh, you want to play
Sounds
Factorio?
productive.
No, Satisfactory.
I know, but do you want to play
It's the only-
Factorio?
No. I want to play Satisfactory. Do you want to play Satisfactory?
I'm off the team.
I do own it.
He never was on the team.
Let's keep this discussion going on Discord, Mojo.
Sounds good.
And no blockers.
No blockers. Parking lot. And as for me, I will be shifting to a new issue that was brought up, which is access. Nice. An access database issue where they're having trouble connecting to a data source in Microsoft Access for a thing that they've kept in Microsoft Access for the past 20 years and log in Microsoft Access. And they want me, a developer, to fix their Microsoft Access file.
They have a problem accessing their access.
The data source
file.
in their Access data file. Hold Shift, press Delete, problem solved.
Yes.
So that's what I'm doing today.
Project. Different problem created.
Switch
But
to
that's a
Excel.
Yeah, but that's a separate ticket, so.
So that's a change management request. Anyway, thank you both for being here. Really enjoyed having you, as always.
Thank
And
you for having
UTD.
me.
Any last
we'll
words
get back
before
now.
we sign out?
Eat your greens. Your
No
vegetables.
blockers.
No blockers over and over.
Live long and prosper, guys. I'm jumping out. Bye.
Ciao. And later, Mojo. All right. Thank you all for hanging out with us today. No thanks, Dad. Excel 97 best database. Everyone knows this. Mr. Streamer, thank you very much for hosting yet another excellent stream and a fantastic community day. Oh man, and I missed all the shoutouts. I don't know if you've been on top of them, Dugasoft, because talking makes me a little bit blind. But Science Streams was in here. We got rated by BitGamey. I'm sure we shouted out BitGamey, but Science Streams, if you're looking for really interesting and engaging science-y type, nerdy type conversations, head on over to Science Streams. He is a amazing personality that you will just love and always want to be around and hang out with. I'm almost always lurking there. Whenever I see his go live notification, I log in so that I'm at least supporting as a viewer, a listening viewer, but I don't talk very much because who caches much stuff? Oh my gosh, who caches stuff anyway? Check out Thindle's stream. Definitely check him out. Check out all the people. I don't even know who's currently live. We have Kenny Dev. We have Code Red Games. Wow. Like, there are so few people that are currently live that I follow. Proton Fig. I don't know. Let's head over to... this is a game dev stream that we're going to head on out to. Oh, I'm not even at this screen. We're going to head over to Code Red Games, who is making a roguelike. Has gotten really, really duper super far. And like he needs to just release it. It's called Rogue Blight. I need to actually log in. Oh, I've been on his stream this whole time. But he is playing with assets. He's playing with his assets currently. At least that's kind of what it looks like. Oh yeah, there's all that stuff. Wow, I just said it how it is. I do post all of my VODs to YouTube after the stream at some point in time, so you'll see this one show up on YouTube eventually. Most likely before the next stream, but probably as the next stream is starting. I'll be back again on Monday with more software development, UI implementation. All we need to do currently in the financial management tracker redesign that we have so far from our designer is to apply CSS and get everything to lay out correctly. We've added all of the content, so now it's CSS time. So we're going to do that on Monday. And what else do I normally say? Join our Discord if you feel like it. Yet another Discord server. CSS. I even read C backwards. My SC2 clan is called Assets. Wait, Assets. SOCOM? Anyway, timer's running out. Ciao for now. I didn't even start this early enough. It's not going to have enough exercise. Oh, geez. Bye.